had a chance to meet George or not. George, can you put your hand up so people know who you are? George Polaya right there. He's one of the most special people you'll meet when you work with him. So when it comes down to coming to this office with the leadership, such as George, as well as Ontiveros, if you can put your hand up as well. And Diana Wiley, who orchestrates these things like there's no tomorrow. She's running around somewhere doing something, and Victor Wiley and Kathy Ontiveros. And we got a lot of good leaders here, so I enjoy coming here. But here's what we'll do today. How many of you have no idea what we do, what the company's all about? Raise your hand if you have no clue what we do. Okay, sounds good. So what I want to do before we get started is, I want to tell you first what this isn't about, so you can relax, sit in a meeting, and just get the material, and then go home, and you don't have to worry about the fears of coming to sales meetings. This is what this meeting isn't about. This is not a juice meeting. So if any of you came here thinking this is one of those juice businesses where at the end we're going to pop a bottle and say, hey, take a shot of this juice and we're going to change your life, I hate to disappoint you. We have no juice in this room here right now. If you came here because you're thinking it's a toothpaste meeting or a toothbrush or vitamins or nutritionals or you're going to learn how to lose weight, 80 pounds, or this is also not that meeting. This is not a travel meeting. We're not going to tell you, you got to buy this and we're going to buy that. And this is not that meeting either. Or long distance. We're not going to ask you to switch your long distance provider and use our cell phone. This is not any of those meetings. Matter of fact, this is pretty controversial, our approach, because no one's going to be sold anything today. Meaning, you know how typically at the end of a sales meeting, what do you hear? You hear option number 1 is $100, option number 2 is $500, and option number 3 is our executive package is $1,000. We don't have anything like that. Everyone goes home. Is that okay with you, by the way? Is that okay with everybody? So with that being said, those of you guys that are sitting like this, just put them down. You're okay. No one's going to ask you to take out your checkbook, your credit card, nothing. And there's a reason for it. Folks, this is not, look right all the way back to how many people are sitting here. This is not the only, this is all the people in the back. This is not like the only office that this is happening in. I was in Simi Valley a couple of days ago. I was telling them earlier where in an 1,800 square foot office, they had 135 people there. I was in Oxnard, they had a couple hundred people there. We were in Pasadena, 100-something people there. We were in Lancaster. This thing is growing at a pace in SoCal and nationally. So no matter where we go, people want to know what's going on. And one of the reasons why we don't sell you, when I say we don't have those options and sell you, is because we are genuinely, seriously looking for quality people that want to do something. Because of that, we don't make that aggressive approach on, hey, now let's get started today. So we look for quality people. And if that's you, listen to the presentation today. And by the time we're done, if we both see as a fit, we'll take the next steps and set up a time to get together and answer those questions for you. And if you're a fit for us, we'll make a decision work together for you. But with that being said, my story, just like she said earlier, my name is Patrick, and I know Patrick is an Irish name, but I'm sure you can already tell I'm not Irish, right? That's pretty obvious. I was born and raised in Iran, lived there for quite a while. When the whole war happened between Iran and Iraq, we escaped. We went to Germany. We lived in a refugee camp in Germany. From Germany, we came here. I lived in Glendale for 6 years like Manny, and went to Glendale High School. And typically, we've been constantly went after high school, by the way. You go to college, you get a 4-year degree, and then we're guaranteed a what? A job with benefits for how long? Forever. And life is going to be what? Just great, no stress, no problem. How often does that happen, by the way? That's this. What's happened, folks, is this, and this is the first time in a long time, because of social media, more people are questioning the system today than ever. More people are questioning the traditional system of after high school, go to college. They're questioning it today, not 20 years ago, because we didn't have YouTube. Not even 10 years ago. They've been questioning it ever since the last 5-7 years, and they're saying maybe the system doesn't work. So right after high school, a lot of my buddies went to UCLA, Stanford. I joined the Army, did the military thing for a few years, got out of the military, started working at Valley Total Fitness. Anybody knows Valley? Anybody knows who got a 36-month contract? 15-year contract with Valley. Anybody heard what happened with Valley? Anybody heard what happened with Valley?
Yes, they bought
LA Fitness bought out Valley Total Fitness. And you know what's amazing? When I meet people and they say, I'm working for this, I have this great job, everything's going to be great. Guys, when I got started at Valley, sales reps were making 200 grand a year. Selling membership. You guys hear what I said? You know what they're making today? 40 grand a year. 30 grand a year. Management's making 50 grand a year. Everything's changed. The traditional routes changed. Because employees today are no longer a certain name. It's an employee number. Things are completely different today, folks. We're not living in the 50 years ago when, hey, Liz, how are you? How's the kids? How's the family? How's the sister? How's the brother? Did you see Lakers win yesterday? How's this? It's no longer that. It's more, did you get your job done? Did you get this? It's a complete different world. We can't fight it. It's just what's happening. So we got to learn how to adjust ourselves towards current times. So when I worked at Bally's, here's a few things happen. How many of you in here consider yourselves hard workers? Raise your hand if you think you're a hard worker. How many of you are not afraid of work? Raise your hand if you're not afraid of work. How many parents do we have here? How many parents? By the way, some of you guys that raise your hand like this, that means you work 40 hours a month. Some of you guys raise your hand like this, you work 50. Like this is 60, like this you're right around 80. And if you walk out, you're working about 80 hours a week, right? You're just frustrated with life. But one of the things I realized is, most of us are not afraid of work. There's few people that are afraid of work, but most of us are not afraid of work. But it was also a question that I had where, how is it that two people, they both went to the same high school, same family, same community, same church, they're the same height, same weight, born the same day, the same year, the same faith, the same ethnicity, marry a girl that's the same exact like the other girl, have the same amount of kids, drive the same amount of cars, but 10 years later, one is making $400,000 per year, the other one's only making $60,000. Why is that? You ever wonder why that is? It's not because one is better than the other one. It's not because one is smarter than, they're the same exact thing. It's because they chose the right industry. Industry is what they chose. You look at a lot of people and say, how is it, anybody here have a friend or somebody that they know and say, how is he making 300 grand per year? I'm better than him. Who knows somebody like that in their close? We all have some, how is that person doing so good, right? So I questioned it, and here's what happened. Went to a mentor of mine in Newport Beach at that time. This is in 99, 2000. I pulled him aside, very wealthy man. He owned a mall on the internet, did very well, sold it for $300 million. He started Home Club. He owned the yacht company, very wealthy guy, ex-Navy SEAL. So he's not going to play games with you. He told you the way it is, right? If you don't like it, too bad he's not here to please. He just kind of told me the way it is. And I knew that in advance. So I asked him, I said, Bob, I got a question for you. He said, what is it? I said, what's the best industry to get involved in where I can make a lot of money, but I can also have a life? What do you recommend, right? Because how many of us want to make money, but you see a lot of people who make money but have no life. Anybody seen people like that? I said, I want to make money and I want to have a life. What do you recommend? And he said, Patrick, let me ask you a question. I said, Tom, he said, what's the busiest day of the week? Folks, what would you say is the busiest day of the week? Monday. The busiest day.
Friday?
Normally what?
Monday.
Beginning of the week or what?
End of the week.
It's just kind of depending on the business, beginning or the end, right? He said, Patrick, what's the one place most people would like to be on Friday morning? And I said, I don't know, home with the family relaxing. He said, no, the rich people in America want to be at the country called golf. I said, okay. I said, when's the last time you saw an Iranian golf? You know, we kind of like to stay away from bunkers, but you guys can go golf. He said, Americans like to golf. I said, you give us a stick in Iran, we don't golf with it. And he said, well, anyways, just understand what I'm saying. Go ahead and explain. He said, do you know 20 to 30% of people that golf on Friday morning are in the insurance and the financial industry? Why is that? He said, because they get involved in this industry for 5, 10, 15 years. 5, 10, 15 years later, every time the client pays for the insurance, the annuity, 401k, IRA, mutual fund, whatever it is, they're making money every single month. So eventually they're making 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 per month, whether they work or not. So all of a sudden they have a life, so they start saying, what do I like to do? Maybe I should try golf. Because think about it. Say you woke up tomorrow morning, and you know you're going to get paid $20,000 for the next 30 days. What would you do? You'd be a little bit confused. You probably wake up and you say, crazy, what do I do? Let me get some more sleep. Then you wake up and you're like, man, I'm more tired and I slept more. Let me watch Wheel of Fortune. After about a month of watching Wheel of Fortune, I said, man, I better start doing something. You know, I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar. I can't. I always wanted to be part of an alpha and back to me. I can't. I always want to learn how to dance. There's a dancer who charges $100 a lesson. He's the best. Maybe I should do that, and you can. I always wanted to learn how to go out and play golf. You can't. I wanted to hire a tennis instructor. You can't. I want to get the best personal trainer, $150 an hour. You can't. That freedom is now available to you, and that was offered to our industry. And I sat there and I said, you know what? But insurance and finance, that makes no sense to me. I said, tell me more. He said, Patrick, you look to your left, you look to your right. Your health, your life, your car, your jewelry, your cell phone, your government, your bank, they're all backed up by who? The insurance company. He said, you know why? I said, why? He said, because you have to do something. I said, okay, and I think getting a little bit, but I still don't fully get it. How many sports fans here? Like, who loves sports? Raise hand if you love sports. How many Laker fans here? Any Laker fans? Any Clipper fans? Any Clipper fans? Who's that for? Any But do you really have any Miami Heat fans? Any Miami Heat fans?
There you go. There's one.
Are you serious? Raise it up. The door is far. So I've always been a sports fan, and if you hang out with me, you'll know we'll talk sports half the time. You know, many of the people that came to the first time to take a look at the opportunity, 80% of the time we're talking about sports, then we spend 5 minutes on business and the business system. But we had another gentleman here who was 6'6", our tax guy over there, Sensei, if I said it right. But, I'm a tall guy, so I play basketball and I play baseball. And he said, Patrick, what are the richest sports in America? And I said, I don't know, baseball and basketball? He said, baseball and basketball are the poor man's sport. And I said, you realize you haven't said one good thing about me so far. I said, why is baseball and basketball the poor man's sport? That's what I played all my life. So let me explain to you what I mean by it. I said, tell me. He said, when you watch a baseball and basketball game, what kind of companies advertise? I said, I don't know. He said, beer, Coca-Cola, Nike, McDonald's. He said, you know why? I said, why? He said, because that's what poor people buy. And I said, that's what I buy. So that's why you're poor. That's not cool, right? That was 11 years ago. And he said, but that's marketing. That's business. They know who watches that sport. He said, you know what are the richest sports in America? I said, tell me. The golf and tennis. He says, you know who sponsors golf and tennis tournaments? I said, who? He said, insurance companies. ING, Allianz, Hartford, Allstate, Prudential, Chase, Pacific Life. Why? The rich understand money before going. So they're not going to advertise to poor people, but they will to rich people because they know money. And I sat there, although I was frustrated a little bit, I said, this makes sense. I left, and when I got started at Morgan Stanley, New York. When I got started, there were a couple of things happened. I got all my licenses, but this is what I understood. Folks, let me ask you this. If you and I sew for a living, every day we sew for a living, what do we get very good at? So if your kid comes home and he rips his pants, who fixes it? You do, right? If you are a hairstylist and you cut hair for a living the last 15 years, what do you get very good at? So who cuts your kid's hair? You do, because that's what you do on a daily basis. Now, if you fix swimming pools and you're in construction and every day you go out there and fix pools and you build pools, what do we get very good at? Building pools. So if one day you and your family want to have a pool in the backyard, who does it? You. Why? Because that's what you do on a daily basis. Now let me ask you this. What if you educate other people about how money works on a daily basis? What do you get very good at? Educating people about how money works. So who handles your finances for you now? Will you ever rip yourself off? You say a lot of people in America have been ripped off last 10 years. Why is that? Well, let me ask you, is it their fault or is it somebody else's fault? I think we have a lot of us like to blame the banking industry, a lot of us like to blame other people, but hey, information's free. Anybody can go learn it, and that's freedom. Once you go and learn about how money works, guess what? You're protected forever. Nobody can sell you the wrong kind of policy. Nobody can sell you the wrong kind of thing, because that's what you do on a daily basis. So the moment I got involved in the industry, I said, this is great. Now I can teach this to my family and friends. Now I know I'm protected. Now I know I can pass this down to my kids. Now I know this is something that I know how to manage my own finances. But then a couple other things took place. I got involved. I fell in love with the industry, but I didn't necessarily know if I was at the right place. Anybody's ever heard of CDW on Van Owen? California Deluxe Windows. They sell windows, and who's heard of them? You've heard of them. And they come to your house and they sell you $50,000 worth of windows. We know what kind of windows it is. Heat doesn't come through. Your bill goes down for the AC. It really works. Like you pay $50K, but you're gonna save it over the next 300 years. You'll save. It doesn't work. The math works. But you know, it's interesting. You know, we're living in California, so window business does good where in California and in Arizona. It's not going to do good in New York. Nobody cares about the window business in New York, right? So I asked him, at that time one of my friends was his assistant, and I asked him, I pulled him aside, and I said, look, I just got started on Morgan Stanley Greenwood. I want you to be my first accountant. And he sat me down and says, Patrick, do you ever want to be wealthy? And I said, what do you mean do I ever want to be wealthy? You know, wealthy people ask pretty stupid questions. What do you mean do I want to be wealthy? Who does not want to be wealthy? Of course I want to be wealthy. He said, really, you want to be wealthy? I said, absolutely. Then he said this. He said, I learned this 30 years ago in Russia, and I'm going to teach you to tell me. But I learned a long time ago, never, ever, ever work for a sexy, established company. I said, I'm not part of it. What are you sexy stuff? What are you talking about? He said, never work for an established company. I said, why not? He said, because that company is now sexy and established because a group of people at the beginning through your stages helped it become sexy and established. Now they're wealthy. You're just a number. He said, go to a place, help it become sexy and established, you'll become wealthy. I said, you know what? That's just me. So I left. I went to another company with them, bought out at that time for 9 months. Got started with them 18 months later. I became a broker, became a marketing director with them. In the next 5 years, I went to Croatia, Dubrovnik, Santorini, Greece, Athens, Macedonia, Venice, Italy, Guatemala, Jalisco, Ali, Port Cardin, Kona, Kauai, Maui, St. Martin, Caribbean, Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Portugal, Spain, for NASCAR, Disney World, Kentucky, Super Bowl, Beach, Chateau Toronto, Lake Louise, want me to stop? But here's my point to you. Everything paid for by the insurance company. Everything. And I would call my buddy who went and got his MBA. And in our circle of friends, he's the guy with the MBA. I said, didn't you get the MBA? Yes. Don't you sit very properly? Yes. Don't you look very sharp? Yes. How much you spend on that? 200 grand. Let's go to Portugal for 2 weeks. I can't do that. Are you crazy? I'm sorry, didn't you go and study or Kellogg for 8 years so you could do this? Yeah, but that comes 20 years later. Why the heck do I want to wait 20 years? There's a bunch of beautiful places in the world to go see. I don't want to wait that long. And here's another thing that happened with the business. I got started in the business. I was $49,000 in debt, early 20s. I had 26 credit cards. Okay, I was driving a Ford Focus. Guys, I don't fit in a Ford Focus. I was forced to drive a Ford Focus. And so when I got involved, for me, I want to pay off my debt part-time, and then I want to save money. At the end of the day, savings in a bank makes your pillow softer. Don't ask me how. It just does. 2 years down the line, I paid off the debt, $49,000. Year later, I saved $50,000 cash. Year after that was $100,000 cash. Year after that was $200,000 cash. Year after that was $300,500 cash. And 20 liquid savings. And on track to do a lot of other things for my family. And that's what this industry provides. So then, in September 23rd, 2009, we started PHP. I'll tell you the story of PHP. Is this thing up or do I gotta? Okay, there we go. I gotta step away. So we started PHP. Let me tell you the story about PHP and what we do. Our mission statement is saving America through bringing back the free enterprise system and a hope to American families. Free enterprise system and hope to American families. And the reason why this is our mission statement is, you know, you're going to see more people, folks, in the next few years become entrepreneurs than ever. And a few reasons why that is. We'll talk about that here in a minute, why that is. But most of you sitting here are probably skeptics. Who considers themselves a skeptic, by the way? Who considers themselves a those of you guys that didn't raise your hand, you are the true skeptics, by the way. But most of us are skeptics. And why are we skeptics? You ever thought about why we're skeptics? I think we need to question things a little bit more. Why are we skeptics? Let's think about it. Why do we question everything?
Because we don't know what we're getting ourselves into.
One of the reasons is we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. Another one is We've been taken advantage of. Anybody's ever been taken advantage of? We've been taken advantage of, right? If you haven't been taken advantage of, guess what? You haven't left your house yet. So it's got to be taken advantage of, right? We've been conditioned to say no. Have you ever noticed we love to say no to things so quick? You ever notice that? We feel so important rejecting things. No, think about it. Reassess yourself. I mean, ladies know about this, right? We love rejecting people and things. Love it. Not interested. No. No. Not now. Don't call me. No. Constant no. Now, let me explain this to you guys. I remember prior to getting involved in the industry, I saw this trend until I was challenged. And it really challenged and messed up my thinking because all my life, when we're kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, we want to go outside and play. What's the first thing our mom tells us?
No.
Don't what?
Don't talk to strangers.
But why don't go out? If you do go out, don't do what? Don't talk to
Strangers.
and don't trust.
Strangers.
How many of us heard that about we're growing up? Watch this. Do you know how we're raised looking at people the rest of our lives like this? You don't think that last one? You know how many 40-year-olds we have sitting here? They still like this, and this is what they say. You're doing a good job. It sounds good. My mom was only 35 years ago. Don't talk to me. And because of that, you are locked up for the rest of your life. And that's not what entrepreneurs do. You forever will live with you. I was talking to a gentleman earlier, a CPA guy, tax guy who, Michael says, he's too technical. That's what technical people do. They constantly condition themselves of, no. They think they know a lot, and that ends up haunting them, wrong to them. And all of a sudden, one day they wake up, they're 75 years old, just about to wrap up the funeral and say, hey, this is my 75 years. You think I'm kidding with you? Let me ask you, how fast did the last 5 years go by? Go back 5 years. What were you doing 5 years ago? Go back 5 years. Go back 5 years, you had equity in your house. Yes or no?
Yes.
How quick did the last 5 years go by? How quick?
Very quick.
How quick do you think the next 5 is going to go by? You think we're going to look like this forever? You think we can eat pizza the way we eat pizza and it's going to stay the way it is? You ever notice you used to eat pizza? 30 seconds later in the bathroom. You eat pizza 3 weeks later, you go to the bathroom. Sticking around now. But you're saying, did he just say that? I think sometimes, honestly, look, this room is filled with immigrants. I'm an immigrant. I came here for one reason, just like you. Some of your family members came here for one reason, to live the dream. And I think sometimes we think we have a lot of time. Sometimes we kind of go and treat life about the fact that we think we have so much time. And then sometimes I hear parents saying, I don't know how we turned 18 years old all of a sudden. Time flies by. Well, let me tell you, that's a perfect illustration for us to realize how quickly it's going by. Well, we've been conditioned to say no. Consequences, we live life with what ifs, and we never really reach our full potential. Now, a lot of people say, well, what's really happening today? Folks, I don't think we need to talk about today's financial issues. Yes or no? When you turn on the TV, what do you hear about? Financial problems galore. You read papers about financial problems galore, right? Look at disturbing lack of financial education. Most of us don't learn about how money works. The educational system doesn't teach you about credit card debt. You don't come out of high school, somebody telling you, this is how a credit card works. This is how you buy a house. This is how you plan for your wedding. This is how no one's teaching those things. People think weddings are cheap. People lose marriages because of weddings. Did you hear what I just said? People spend their entire savings to put the wedding together. 1 year later, they're divorced because they don't have money anymore. And that's the system we've been brought up in. And we laugh about it until we go and see the statistics where it's 66% divorce rate. 40 years ago was 25%. So study the statistics. 45 years ago was 25. Today, 66. That's insane. We are now learning about how money works. No one's sitting down teaching about what to do with the finances. Are you married? I am. Insufficient insurance protection. 44% of households have life insurance policies, which means 56 don't have any policies. 56 don't have anything in place. By the way, this doesn't mean these are bad people. Just no one sat down and educated them about how money works. Number 3, alarming consumer debt. Average credit card debt per household is $16,000. Average American carries 3.5 credit cards. Social Security, we don't even need to talk about it. But this is the most critical one out of all of them. This is what I believe. 30 years ago, the dream in America was what? Go work for a company for how many years?
30 years.
30 years, and he's given what? Pensions, right? Is it that way nowadays?
No.
That system's changed. Look at the numbers. In '85, which is roughly 30 years ago, that's 27 years ago, we had 114,000 pension plans offered by companies. Today it's what? 38,000. A third. What do you think it's going to be in 20 years? What do you think it's going to be in 30 years? You know what it is going to be? If we individually don't handle our finances properly, no one else is going to do it for us. That's what we're headed for. If we don't individually take the responsibility about our money works, no one's going to do it for us for 15, 20 years. So a lot of people say, well, okay, what's my alternative? I see a lot of people settling at their job. A lot of people say, at least I have a job. And let me ask you this. Do you think employers promote based on how an employee's financial situation is? What do you think? Yes or no?
No.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's have some fun with it. You own a business, this size. You own a company. You own a company. Somebody owns a company. You have two people to decide to hire for management. You have Flavia, you have Patrick. Right? We both come to work. We're both our VPs. We're fighting for senior vice president positions. Okay? Are you with me so far? Yeah. VP, you want to be our next VP? For an hour at 80, you're going to go to 120. Do we want to be at 120? We certainly do. Okay. You're going to choose one of us to hire. Now, I'm in debt $39,000. I have some money in my 401k, only $8,000 in my checking account. Okay? I got 3 kids. One's about to turn 17 and wants to go to college. He's smart, but he doesn't have scholarship. He needs some money, right? Her, on the other hand, she's got $150,000 in a bank account. She's debt free. And she's got about $100,000 in her 401k. She's safe. When it comes to decisions, I panic. I get ticked off quickly. When it comes to making decisions, she's like, it's going to be okay. Larry, here's what we need to do. Boom, 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 boom. That's what we need to do. She runs her department with peace. I run my department with peace. It's time for you to promote. You know our financial situation. Who would you promote?
Flavia.
I thought you said you don't promote on financial situations. They want it. You know why? Watch this. Boss comes, talks to me in a rude way. Patrick, you are the worst vice president we have with PhD. Boss, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, boss. I'm going to get better. I'm going to work on it. Boss comes and talks to Flavia. Flavia, you're the worst vice president we have here at the company. She says, boss, you'll never talk to me like that. Let me tell you why. I respect you, but I save my money. I have $100,000 in the bank. I'm responsible. I have money in my 401k. I didn't just take advantage of it. I worked my tail off and I got money. I've saved. So if you ever talk to me like that again, I'll leave. I only work you because I love working. You have a choice. Boss walks in and says, you're promoted. You think I'm kidding with you? Now, don't try it tomorrow if you don't have the money. Don't you ever talk to me like that. Don't fire. Only works if you have savings. Even if you're a good actor. Only works if you have savings. That's why people are looking for people who are financially stable. So when people say, I'm going to set on my current job, how many people think are getting laid off? Well, who do you think is getting laid off, right? Second one, a lot of people say, let me go back to school and get more degrees. Let me ask you a question. Do you really think America today is struggling with unemployed people who have their resume on Career Builder and Jobs.com and Monsters without master's degrees and MBAs and bachelor's degrees and PhDs? Folks, we have hundreds of thousands of people who are very well qualified to have any job in America today with degrees. They just can't land any jobs. Going back to school and getting a degree today no longer means what it used to 30, 40 years ago. It just does not. You can say, and I don't, when somebody goes out and gets a degree, you know what, it shows your discipline. It shows the fact that you can go finish it. That's not something where I'm just telling you the system doesn't work. It doesn't mean like you don't work. You pay the price. You went to school. You followed the system. But the system has changed. And the sooner we understand this, the sooner we're going to be able to catch up with the system. So now a lot of people, well, what do I do? What's my alternative? I want you to think about, you're going to see today, the idea is to ask a lot of questions, so you're going to sit here thinking, and you're going to go home. And when everybody goes home, we always have two different groups. You have a group in the audience where they're gonna go home, no matter what anybody we bring as a speaker, they're gonna question anything. They're gonna go home and they're gonna say, who does he think he is? Right? I didn't like the way he spoke about this. I didn't like the, and they've always been like that about their life. There's always someone to blame. I'm just telling you. And there's a group that's sitting here and it's saying, you know what? It makes sense. I gotta really do something about it. I wanna really think about it. Those questions will definitely make sense. Look what happened to my parents. My parents went through divorce. My parents loved each other. My parents were crazy about each other. What happened? It's a lot of mess. It's an ugly thing when a divorce happens. Costs my money. It's not a pretty thing. It's a very, very ugly thing that takes place. But then you see this and you say, okay, sounds good. Let me ask you this. Look at the entire lifetime of yours, people you met, friends, family, acquaintances. Who is the richest person you know? Not Donald Trump or Warren Buffett, people you know. Who's the richest person you know? Think about that person. You don't need to say their name, just think about that person. How many of you thought about it pretty quickly? You know who was that uncle? You know, you thought about it real quickly. Everybody talks about it. And by the way, do most people talk smack about it? How weird is that? How most people talk smack about the people who have money. It's not weird. How people love to take shots at people who have money, right? But I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. It's the next question. Is that person an entrepreneur or an employee? What makes you and I think we're going to be wealthy being an employee? These are some of the things that we forget about. The wealthiest people in America are entrepreneurs. That's what they are. That's where the money comes. That's where freedom comes. That's what America's about. That's where 100 years ago, folks, 100 years ago, you know what the majority of us would be doing 100 years ago? What do you think the majority of us would be doing 100 years ago? We'd be selling something. 100 years would be milk, potatoes, corn. We'd be selling something. Most of us would be entrepreneurs. We wouldn't have this 9 to 5 thing. Anybody knows how long the 9 to 5 era's been around? Anybody knows how long the 9 to 5 era's been around? Do you know the day when it got started? I can tell you. You can go Google it. It's all over the internet. Anybody knows when 9 to 5 got started? Close. 32. Right after the Depression, 32. That's what happened. We never had 9 to 5. So you know what 9 to 5 does to my generation? It's made us lazy. It's made us go home at 5 o'clock because we want to watch American Idol. Because we want to watch Desperate Houseman. We want to go watch something. And you know what it's time? And we're struggling financially. We are struggling financially. And we are because of this system. Now, entrepreneurs, I will tell you the honest truth. It's pretty annoying the first 2 years. Very annoying being an entrepreneur. It's not a fun thing being an entrepreneur the first 2 years. Then the fun stuff. Like a relationship. Anybody remembers the first 2 years with your spouse? It was World War III in your own household, right? You wanted to, it was crazy. Sometimes it was good crazy. All right, so we got it. So number one is, okay, that makes sense. We got to be entrepreneurs. But what industry, right? A lot of people say, what industry should I get involved in? How many of you have heard of a lot of different industries? You know, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. Let's assess this with numbers. Who in here likes Skittles? Raise your hand if you like Skittles. Who likes Skittles? Anybody like Skittles? Good. 15. So I did an example a few months ago, last year I want to say, where I took out a Skittle and I said, let's say a Skittle is $10 billion. Let's see what industry is the biggest industry in America, in the world. Let's just check this out. What industry is the biggest out of all? So we looked at it. A lot of people say health is where you want to get involved. Nutritionals, health, supplements, things like that. That is a $270 billion industry. Is that a big industry, by the way? Yeah. It's a pretty big industry, right? A lot of people say, no, entertainment, Hollywood, movies, very big industry. Is that a pretty big industry? Yeah, very big. It's a $1 trillion industry. And some said, no, you know, it's telecommunications. Everybody has a cell phone. Who in here has a cell phone? Everybody has a cell phone nowadays, right? Now, this wasn't, you know when I got my cell phone? Do you remember when you got your cell phone, your first year you got a cell phone? Yeah. Scream out the year you got your cell phone. 1, 2, 3. 94. Wow. I got mine in 2000. I was late. When I got mine in 2000, it was the 5689. Who remembers those, the Pan Pacific? Which one was it? The Nokia 5690? What was it? Do you remember that? That was my first cell phone. And now everyone's got a cell phone, right? Telecommunication industry. $2 trillion industry. Some say travel, cruise ships, planes, $9 trillion industry. So the idea is, so far, which one of them is going to offer you and I the most skill? Travel, right? Let's look at ours. Insurance and financial services industry. Is it 10 trillion? Is it 15 trillion? Is it 20 trillion? 21 and a half? That's our industry. It's $140 trillion industry. That's our business. So you choose and you ask, which one of them can offer the biggest piece of the pie? Because all you and I want what? We just want one skill. All I want is one skill. But you understand how important it is to choose the right industry. Choosing the right industry that offers the highest opportunity for you and I. If I can ask one favor from people, every time somebody gets up and walks in, it's very distracting. We have people that drove 3 hours to come here. I would assume everybody's a business person and you respect it if we came to your house and you're at our house, we would expect the same as well in return. If you can just be patient with us 30 more minutes, you'll go home, you'll go have a good lunch, you'll go watch some good college football affairs today, good sports today. But stay with us for 20, 30 more minutes and we'll wrap it up so we can pay the respect to other people who drove 2, 3 hours a day. Is that a deal with everybody?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Because some people are really trying to look at this seriously. So now we have becoming an entrepreneur, is where we need to go and become entrepreneurs. So you say, okay, Pat, that makes sense. Insurance and financial industry, I never knew that. That also makes sense. Okay, but the next question is this the right time to get involved in this industry? So a lot of times it's just the wrong time to get involved in that industry. Let's see if it's the right time to get involved in this industry. How many of you would agree that success of a business has a lot to do with timing? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Who would agree with that?
Yeah.
Does it have a lot to do with timing?
Yeah.
How many of you have met people who became wealthy or financially independent simply because they were at the right place, right time, and did something about it? Anybody knows anybody? Not because they're smarter than you, and not just timing, right? So let me ask you this. Between 1994 and 99, what industry created the most millionaires in America? 94 to 99. You're absolutely right. It was internet. Who remembers the tech boom? Who remembers the .com? Who remembers people were taking $50,000, putting it into the stock market, boom. I bought AOL for $50,000, and I got $1.3 million. It was all over the paper. Who remembers those stories? It was everywhere. Now here's my question for you. Did most people get involved in the .coms in 94, or did most of us wait and get involved in 99? Here's the next question. Why? Because we're skeptical. Who said that, by the way? Because we're skeptical. Because we want to see what? We want to see, like she will come and she says, Patrick, you got to check this out. You know what I tell him? Give me a break, love. You go do it first, and then when you make money, you call me. By the way, don't act like you've never said that, because I've said that before and I lost money, right? So, that's what we say. Now let's go to the next one. 2000 to 2007, what industry created the most money? Right? Did very well for a lot of people. There's a question, did most of us get involved in 2000, or did most people wait till 4 or 5? Or 4 or 5. Why? You wanted somebody else to do what? Who knows somebody that got involved as loan officer, you know, real estate, title, and they started making more money than they'd ever made? Anybody knows anyone? It's all time. Now, if we have to do it all over again, would we have waited? Yes or no? Okay. But you and I didn't have the information that was going to take place. The difference between the last 2 booms that you and I missed and this one is you're going to know this one. So this one's going to be more painful 10 years from now if you miss it. Because 10 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to say, don't even talk about future. Don't even. Bring up that red, white, and logo to me. 10 years ago, I went to this meeting in anyway, I don't want to talk about it. Because you're not going to get the facts. When you're done hearing this, you can't argue. You can't debate. It's pure numbers. And you're going to get the answers as we go through. You'll see in a minute where you'll be saying these things happening next few years. Okay. So between 1946 and 1964, 76 million babies were born in America. We call these babies what? Baby boomers. Why were these babies born after 46, by the way? War ends, husband comes back, hasn't seen the wife for the longest time. What's the first thing they're thinking about? I mean, he wants to have dinner, right? He's hungry. And then they're making some babies. Sometimes they forgot about dinner. But you should be very proud of Americans. We made 76 million babies. We shattered records during that time. Right? You know, that was a big deal. But, you know, I just want to tell you this. We're not here to talk about babies, but we're in a business meeting. But what does that have to do with business? Let's look at this here. I want you to think about today's 1946. The 200 of us here today, we all know each other. We're friends. We're family. We went to school together. We went to high school together. You're my cousin, I'm your cousin, right? And we are just sick of not having money. And we said, let's get together and run money. We get together in this meeting. The difference between us and everybody else out there is we know in the next 18 years, between 1946 and 1964, that 76 million babies are going to be born. If today, one more time, if today's 1946, and we know in the next 18 years, 76 million babies are going to be born, what are some products you and I would come out with today that newborn babies need? When you think about baby food, what do you think about? When do you think Gerber came out? You guess it, you probably get a lot.
1928.
When you think about baby shampoo, what do you think about? When do you think they took off? When you think about toy makers, what do you think about? Mattel? When do you think Mattel took off? Look at all these things you said. I didn't say it. All during that time. Let me ask you this. When do you think Barbie came out? Barbie?
1980.
Wrong. No. People can tell you when it came out. No. Barbies came out in 1950. That's when it came out. But why do you think Barbies came out? Why did it do so well? Because 76 million kids were born, half of them are girls, they want something to play with, and Barbie took off. And somehow Ken made it there as well. I don't know what Ken did. You never have Barbie without Ken, right? So, but you know what it was? It's all timing. In fact, if you and I today were born in 1946, you know what would be a good business? I'd be going on selling baby food.
Or shampoo.
Or shampoo. The baby needs some shampoo. We got to do something about it. Say you need some toys. Look at when Barbie came out. 1950. These kids are now 5 to 7 years old. What's the kids start attending at that age? But America doesn't have enough schools for 76 million kids. What do we have to do? Schools. What's the best industry? Schools. Construction took off. They had to build big schools. They built it, their reputation went up, business took off. Where do you find them? In the 60s, these kids are now how old? 16 years old. What's the first thing on a 16-year mind? Do they want a station wagon or a sports car?
Sports car.
What car came out in the 60s?
64 Mustang.
Mustang. By the way, name the majority of American sports cars. You know when they came out?
Corvette.
Right to stop. Because of baby boomers. Corvette, right to stop.
Camaro.
Mustang, right to stop. It's all because of baby boomers. All because of baby boomers. Let's go to the next one. Just watch this print. They say if you want to time the market, just find out what they need next. Be at the beginning stages of it. You'll be wealthy if you do something about it. Next, 70s, 80s. These kids are not turning 30 years old. Wife looks at the husband and says what? Honey, I'm sick and tired of renting. Let's buy a house. What industry? You see, you're saying these things. And today, these guys are no longer babies. Today they're 48 to 66 years old. What do you think they're getting close to? What do you think's on their mind?
PhD.
But no, look at me as a consultant, not as a member of PhD. What you're asking me, I'm a consultant, Pat, what industry? What is on their mind? Some of you are 48 to 66 in the room. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about? And this is the stuff, you're no longer thinking about having a Mustang, or you're thinking about, I'm 7 years away from retirement, I don't have enough savings. I'm 12 years away, and I don't have enough savings. I got to do something about it. Yeah, something's got to be in place with it. So you see timing-wise. Then people say, well, this entire time we've been sold to get our money into what retirement account? 401k, right? I want you to see this article that Time Magazine did. In 1998, the average 401k balance in America in 98 was $47,000. In 98. The average 401k balance in 98 was $47,000. Now let me ask you this. If you have $47,000 in your 401k, today's 98, Where would you want it to be 10 years later in 2008? Minimum.
500.
Give me the minimum. From 40, would you be happy if it was 80? Is that okay if it's 80, right? Folks, 10 years later, this is what the 401k balance was at.
Wow.
45,000. This is Time. It's on the internet. Some Time magazine. Go order the magazine, read it. 10 years later, people lost $1,500 in 401k. And this is what we were told to do. Put your money in 401k. And you know where most people put their money with 401ks? You know why they did it? You know who recommended them to 401ks? Their coworkers. And your coworkers are not financial experts. They're coworkers. There's somebody you go to a lunch break. These are not people that are financial professionals, right? So when you look at the timing and people say, okay, yes, I've got to become an entrepreneur. Yes, I understand, the industry right now is financial services. I got the fact that it's timing, but tell me about PHP. PHP is a combination of 3 different industries. Financial industry, we have the private franchise, we can go out there and open up your own office and own your own business. And we have the word-of-mouth marketing. Folks, let me explain this part. Today, more than ever, this is finally accepted. You know why? Everything today is about what? Social media. How many of you have seen the new video by Coney 2012? Raise your hand if you've seen it. Look at this. You know in 4 days how many views it got? 51 million views in 4 days. 51 million views in 4 days. Coney. How many of you have seen the video on the YouTube? Charlie bit my finger. How many have seen some videos on YouTube where you just couldn't stop laughing, right? Who sent it to you? A friend. What do we do when we watch it? We laugh. And then what do we do? Larry's got to see this. Larry's got to see this. Larry, hey, check this out. This is crazy. Charlie bit my finger right Charlie bit my finger over and over again. Anybody seen that girl that says, where the mom asks, what are you going to do to the monster? If you're going to come and kick my ass. Anybody seen that one? That's classic, right? Well, what's the point? This is the era we're living in. Commercials are no longer effective on TV like they used to be 20 years ago. Ever since this came out, it completely changed the advertising industry. Totally. We're advertising today more on these things than it is on national television. Let me ask you this. What do we do nowadays when we see commercials on TV?
Change the channel.
Let me ask you another question. Think about the person you bought your auto insurance with. You don't need to say it. Just think about the company you're with. And if you don't have one, keep it to yourself. But just think about the auto insurance. Right? But I want you to think about the auto insurance you bought. Company with. Okay. Here's the next question for you. Imagine Sunday you're sitting at home and you're watching TV. And you see the commercial come up with the guy with the tape. What company is that about?
Cake.
And he comes up, right? And he comes up and you're looking at this caveman and you're just feeling so bad. You're just like, why do they make fun of him? Like, what did he do? Leave the guy alone. Like, he's just a nice guy. Look at him. He's a hairy caveman. This guy goes on and telling things like, baby! Yes, baby. Baby, come here, baby. What's going on, baby? Baby, look how nice he is. Baby, what's wrong with you? Are you? Just let me look at him. You know what, babe? What's that? I think we should switch our auto insurance to Geico. Please tell me you've never done this before. You know how we switch our auto insurance? Anybody knows how we do it? How do we do it? You know what? I don't like my auto insurance. All of our neighbors. Oh, but what do you use? I use such a... Can I get his number? Philip, this is Patrick. Give me a call. Got your name and number from Alva. I just need some auto insurance. Can we get together? Yes. Write me up. We're now buying again from who? From people we know because we are again going back to trust. This is why you're seeing companies, large companies, go to this approach of marketing away from the old approach of traditional advertising. Way too expensive, way too costly, have to charge the clients more. This approach, less cost, more trust, more stability. So we took this philosophy of these 3 different models. Now, with that being said, what have we done so far? We are currently recognized as the fastest growing financial marketing organization in America. We have roughly 50, now we're at 6,000 reps nationwide, close to 700 licensed agents in 33 states. Our vision is very big to have 500,000 licensed agents by 2029. Be a $100 billion company. We've already been on Forbes, CNBC, Fox News. I was interviewed on Fox News. We've sold billions of dollars in insurance. And you know when people come to our meetings, you know what they say? How long have you been on? 15 years? No. 10 years? No. 7? No. 5 years, right? We've been on for 2.5 years. That's how long we've been on. When we first got started, you know what the first meeting was? Take this wall, close this up. This was us. That's how it was. First meeting. That's what it was. When we first got started, put this idea, not 6,000. And we're still only 2.5 years. You know what the biggest money-making years of our business starts from 3 to year 15. Because everything the first year was orchestration. It was preparing things. It was putting the systems in place. It was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in infrastructure. Now, off to the races. This is why every day now I have meetings with people that are coming. You know, the #1 health insurance person in the Middle Eastern community who makes $1 million a year. She advertises $250,000 a year on TV. They're coming. People from other states are calling saying, hey, we heard about what you guys did. Insurance companies were calling and saying, you know, American General is one of the big insurance companies out there. 60% of their insurance policies written on the UL side we write. The people are starting to realize what this company is all about. People are starting to come around and say, I want to be part of PhD because it's still fresh, and I'm going to help it be sexy and established. And I want to own a piece of it when I do that. And that's what we offer with PhD. So this is why I told you we're not here to, come on guys, option number 1, option number, no. Go home. Go get skeptical. Go believe your uncle. Go believe your coworkers. Go let them fool you out of an opportunity. And the ones that are mentally tough will come back and we work with them. It's just how the numbers work for us. We're looking for quality people that want to go out there and do something. But this is why we've been able to do well. Who goes to Shepherd of the Hills around the corner? Anybody know Shepherd of the Hills? Anybody know? How much you love Dudley?
I love that.
It's awesome or what?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, have you read his book, God Has an After That?
Yes.
Have you read it? Are you a guest or are you an associate? You've read the book? Are you on chapter 1? Did you hear about the story where the guy ran out of gas?
Yes.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
He puts that in a book. You know how
Yeah.
embarrassing that is?
Yeah.
I go to church. You know what they say? People smile at me. Hey. I'm like, okay, this is the guy from PHP. They come to, hi, you're Patrick, right? Yes. And I'm just waiting to PHP. You're the guy that ran out of gas. That has made me a celebrity as the guy that ran out of gas. But he sits on a hold. Now, why do we do that? People say that's controversial. You don't put a pastor on your board. If we do something that's different, at our events, corporate events, when we have 1,000 people to recognize it, we start our dinners with prayer. Yes, it's controversial, but we believe this is a special company. We said this from day 1. We believe stars are lined up for this company. We believe this is God's company. Miracles have happened left and right that shouldn't have happened the first 6-12 months. Left and right. Things have happened that should have never happened to us for 6-12 months. This isn't us. You think we're special? I drink the same oxygen you breathe. I drink the same water Arrowhead today. It's not any different. Yeah, I just eat Middle Eastern food. You eat different kind of, I don't know. But we had a core group of people of leaders that got together and did this. And now we're looking for more that want to expand the company to the next level. Now, when you get involved, how many of you are sitting here and you're saying, well, Pat, I got to be honest with you. I like everything you're saying. I'm not questioning anything, but I have no experience in financial industry, and I don't think I can do well in this because I don't have experience in financial industry. Raise your hand if that's kind of where your mind is at work. I've never helped anybody with money. Guys, let me explain to you how that was from when I got started. I said the same thing. I said, I'm $49,000 into a 26 credit card, and let me get this straight. You want me to give advice to people? Brilliant. But here's what I didn't know. What I understood is this. I said, worst case scenario, if I can get started with this, and if it doesn't work out for me, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, I will at least learn on how money works. It can last me the rest of my life. I gotta do this part-time. I've got to do this part-time. This isn't something I can do. And I said, as long as you can show me a way how to do it, I'm fine. So in our business, you get started, you go around 10 appointments. You know what all you say is? Here's Johnny. Say, hey, Mary, I want to introduce you to Johnny. What do you mean? Just come check it out. Just see what I'm doing. I want him to tell you about it. Okay, we go to Mary and say, Mary, guess what? Years. He does it down. That's one of the fortunes Mary's going to say. Not interested, but good for you. Not interested, but you got to call Larry, and my son needs to roll over his 401k. I'm excited for you. I'm going to give you referrals, and I want to become a client myself. I just got laid off. I got $82,000 to roll over. Do you guys roll over? Yes. We'll do that. Or I want to do the business. I want to become a client, and I know a ton of people. It happens all the time. And with that today, when you go to explain, people say, common sense, yeah, let's get started. We have a system for the whole thing where you're not by yourself. Okay, so with that being said, what do we do for families? 6 steps. Number 1 is we help increase cash flow. Folks, how many of you right now, if in December, you know what happens in December? December is one of the most stressful months of the year, especially for parents. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Don't we sometimes wish like you can go from November to January? God screwed it up. November to January. What do you think?
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool. Save yourself $2 grand of gifts, right? But let me ask you, how about if in December you made an additional $3,000 part-time? What would have happened? What would have happened?
Beautiful Christmas.
Would have just been a Christmas, or could have had the first word before it, right? We had a Merry Christmas, right? And where's Amelia at? Amelia, can you stand up? Amelia, you're part-time with us, right?
Yes.
Amelia, what did we pay you last month part-time?
Around 8,900.
You said $89?
8,900.
8,900.
$8,900 last month part-time. Part-time.
Yes.
And you have a family? You have a daughter?
I have 2 children, one girl 4 years old and 15 years old.
And your background is?
A real estate agent.
And you're still doing real estate? And you're doing this part-time?
I do full-time real estate and this one part-time.
Did it help you out? Did $8,900 help you out a little bit?
Of course, yeah.
But that's part-time stuff that we have. The part where we have people who just go out and part-time make the income. Number 2 is emergency fund. She right now had $100 grand in the bank account in debt to help her. Simple question. That's the emergency fund. Wouldn't it be kind of cool? It'd be kind of cool when you get the emergency in place and you're scored away, money's fine, transmission breaks down, you're not stressed out about it, right? Number 3, profit protection, life insurance. 4, reduce debt. Long-term planning for retirement and business owner services. And for us folks, we don't market PHP products. PHP is the marketing organization. We work with many other companies that are well-known companies that people know about. So we're just the brokers, and you go out there, we have all the contracts, and you go out there and service the clients with the best product that makes sense for them. Right? Now, with that being said, how many of you here like making money? Anybody here likes making money? This group like making money? Really? Let's talk about that a little bit. But prior to doing that, let's talk about what the wealthy do. So the majority of us, when we get paid, where do we put our money? Why do we put our money in the bank? It's what they tell us to do, because apparently it's what? Safe. What's the disadvantages of us putting our money in the bank? Low interest. Few people put their money in the stock market. Why do we put our money in the market? Possibility of growth. What's the disadvantage of us putting our money in the market?
Risk.
Anybody knows anyone that lost money in the market? Anyone knows somebody very close to them? Like someone very, very close.
Myself.
We're all in that place together, right? Now, you know what the wealthy people do? Guys, this has been the case for us. This is not something that's new. The wealthy people put their money in insurance products. Do you know why? Let me explain to you why. It's the most stable place you can put your money. When you put your money in the bank, what do you think the bank does with our money? They take the money and they put it in insurance because they're protected. And they give you 2% or 1% or 1.5%, they make 6%. They take the difference and they say, oh, another person that gave us the money put it in CD. That's brilliant. They put it in CD again. That's another client. You ever wonder why you go to the bank and the way they smile? Why is that smile off your face? It doesn't look right. Entire time. You wonder why they're smiling. It's right the way they're trying to. Well, money is put into insurance products. Why? Because number 1, you got a guarantee. Number 2, your money's still invested into the market. You have tax advantages, liquidity. The only challenge is you got to qualify for some of the products. Well, with this being said, okay, so let's just say this was the case. And now you're saying, well, a lot of people know this and they'd like to learn about how they can take advantage of this, but what kind of money do you guys make here? Well, let's just say you decide to get involved in PHP super part-time. You work in 10, 15 hours a week with PHP part-time. And someone's taking you out training you how to do the business. Part-time, you go out there and you do it. You help 2 families set aside $250 per month. We're not talking about an $80,000 rollover or $500,000 rollover or a $200,000 rollover. We're talking $250 per month. If you have 2 families per month set aside $250 a month, you're making $2,400 per month, $28,000.